Alright, so I guess we're doing this now. Insert disappointed sigh. Um, fucking hell. As most of you probably are aware, I'm on a podcast from time to time as a guest. It's called Undercooked Analysis, and they recently broke up over, a certain situation that's been probably done to death. You can check out their channel for the explanations of everything. It's not really my place to explain a fight between two people or three people when one of them's not me. I like to make videos about people scamming other people, about people lying, about people being general shits to their fans or to the public or whatever, and doing shady shit and sketchy shit. But in this case, it's like I said, two or three people fighting. So it's not really anything I would have ever actually talked about. But now, somebody decided to drag me into it with a bunch of bullshit. So now I gotta talk about it. Oh, God. This is so stupid. I don't know why, it's... Everybody who seems to be connected to Max Landis seems to have an issue lately. I don't know why that is. But yeah. Fuck. I guess where should I start? Undercooked Analysis, they broke up because Dead Palette didn't want Nick Nocturne on the show anymore. David King agreed to that. Alan Cheney knew or didn't know certain things about that, whatever, I don't know. And long story short, Nick was on the show again, and Dead Palette didn't find out about that until the day that the episode was posted on the channel. So, of course, he felt like, yo, I thought we agreed not to have Nick on, and he's on, what the fuck? And so Dead Palette, essentially quit the show. That's the short version. That's the abridged version. And in my estimation, shorter is usually better. As a long line of women that disagree with me, but we're not going to talk about them or where I've hid their bodies. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to be funny, but this is like a really like awkward and cringy kind of fucking thing. Anyway, that's the explanation out of the way. So Nick Nocturne decides to do a blog post about the whole situation, and I wouldn't have made anything of it if not for the fact that I'm in it. Your boy Slime Beast. Actually, let me see here. Slime Beast. I'm in this 13 times in this fucking post. Which is funny because I don't talk to Nick Nocturne, I don't know Nick Nocturne, and I've only ever interacted with him through the fucking show. But I'm 13 times I'm mentioned in this goddamn post of something I'm completely unrelated to. Why? Because Slime Beast is a bad man. And so, that's how you score your good boy points, by fighting the bad man, I don't know. Anyway, it's just disappointing. It's disappointing because I didn't know Nick. I've talked to Nick, as I said, through the show, basically. That's the thing. Nick and I have not had a conversation. We've talked briefly in the Skype chat for the show, and we've talked on the show on recording, but, he and I have never even actually talked to each other, like, one-on-one, so yeah. Kind of an interesting thing. So here we go. My statement about the UCA situation, Midnight Marinara. This is on Nick Nocturne's Tumblr blog. I haven't read through this entire thing, but I've skimmed it. I skimmed it, found some real treasures, and I realized, well, here's one of those situations again where somebody with a big fucking audience is deciding to go on the attack. And, I have to use my small influence and my small audience to try to defend myself and get the message out. Something we saw before with Jenny Nicholson, another Max Landis knob slobber. I don't know. I can't think of the right term. Bootlicker is what I was trying to think of. I wasn't trying to think of knob slobber. Bootlicker was what I was trying to think of. But yeah, another person who is friends with and backed by Max Landis. Jenny Nicholson came out of nowhere. She actually made another video recently where she put some stupid veiled cunty little schoolgirl attack in the description against me, and I'm like, what? Why? Again, this thing with Jenny Nicholson, we've never spoken. We haven't, except in comments on the video. it's not something where we knew each other before she decided to, go on this weird attack thing. So I don't understand what's going on here. I mean, the conspiracy theorists out there, the Alex Jones viewers, can of course reason out in their minds why friends of Max Landis seem to want to keep talking shit about me. But, we'll leave that to the conspiracy theorists. So, here's the blog from Nick Nocturne. Now that David has released his statement on his own channel, I feel it's alright to go ahead with mine. Okay. This whole incident has caused a lot more pain and damage to Alan and David than to me. And as such, no mention of Dead Palette, no mention of, let's just get that out of the way right away. As far as I know, there are multiple people involved, but really all that matter are Alan, David, and you, so, okay. As such, I let them hold the reins on the situation. I would speak when they were set and both of them were in a good place mentally after all of this. Keeping in mind this is what, 2 or 3 days? I don't know. Here's the first thing I'm going to say regarding Dead Palette's comment on the Undercooked analysis I was featured in with Alan. His attacks are based on some truth and some facts I will not deny, and I'll explore those with you all in a moment. Strong statement out of the gate. Dead Palette's comments about me are based on truth and facts. Okay. Where he's gone wrong is his complete omission of all the rest of the facts and his intentional distortion of the facts presented to give you a very negative impression of me. His own. Oh no, somebody's giving... Can you imagine? Somebody out there is giving their own impression of someone. My goodness. I've never heard of that before. I've never heard of a person giving their own impression of something. Weird. It's funny that he didn't just give your impression, which has been negative for what I suspect is far longer than the inciting incident. I don't care about your suspicions. Basically what he's saying is, I think Dead Palette didn't like me for longer than we were fighting. Which is like, okay, yeah, he appeared... he appeared on podcasts with you, and in live streams with you, and had shared chat with you, and all this stuff, but he hated your guts since the beginning. Sure, I don't understand that. That sounds like victim type stuff. I think he hated me for a very long time. Based on what? There's never going to be any follow up to this. There's never going to be. I can already tell you that now. I haven't read this blog post. I've skimmed it. But I can tell you right now, having not read this blog post, he will not clarify that. He will not say why he thinks or what evidence there is to support the idea that there was some hidden acrimony against him and that he was being targeted. You're going to see exactly why he chose this moment to drop a seemingly random hit piece on Alan's UCA upload when he wasn't involved in the video in the slightest. What? You're going to see exactly why he chose this moment to drop a seemingly random thing. Dude! Okay, so, for anybody who doesn't know, Dead Palette was not told that Nick was going to be on an episode of Undercooked Analysis. He only found out when the video was uploaded and released. So, him commenting on that video, about that video, is because that video was released and he just found out. Now, Nick Nocturne is painting that to seem like this was some nefarious plot? I mean, let me give you guys an example. Say you're walking down the sidewalk one day, an ice cream cone in your hand, and your dick in your other hand, and Nick Nocturne comes driving by in his... I don't know, what would Nick Nocturne drive? He comes driving by in like a dog catcher truck because he's a cat, and he swerves up onto the sidewalk, and you leap out of the way and drop your ice cream. So he almost hits you, and you fall out of the way, drop your ice cream. And you stand up and you say, Nick Nocturne, you crazy motherfucker, you almost ran me over. You made me drop my ice cream. Why have you done this? Why are you so irresponsible? You're going to pay me for that ice cream. Nick sticks his head out of the driver's side window and he says, everyone will see exactly why you chose this moment to yell at me about ice cream. Yeah, because you just fucking did something. The episode just dropped. That's why that moment was chosen. Oh my goodness. All right. We're gonna move on here. Yeah, and also this idea that Dead Palette wasn't involved in the episode in the slightest is like irrelevant because, as has already been established multiple times over, everybody understood that Dead Palette didn't want Nick Nocturne on UCA. I don't think it's realistic to assume that if DP was gone, then it was, no rules. We can, whatever. And here's the thing. As I've said to other people before, if they didn't want to take Dead Palette's request, then at that point you tell him, no, we're not going to exclude somebody from the show just because you say it. You can leave if you want, or you can stay, but we're not going to do that. Instead, they agreed to what he was asking. They agreed to not have Nick on. So when you make an agreement like that, you're accepting the terms. They could have easily said, we don't accept your terms. But that time passed, So, I mean, yeah, DP's not involved with the podcast that he's a co-host of. Let's just let that sink in. And for the people that it hurt, Alan and David, I'm pretty angry. Again, nobody else hurt but Alan and David, and possibly Nick. DP, apparently doesn't matter in this situation. This is the reason I keep saying that, the reason I keep pointing it out is because this is very manipulative behavior. This is manipulative language. This is a narrative being constructed to make you bad. I'll give you another stupid fucking example. 3 people get in a mutual fist fight at a bar. And the ambulance shows up, and all 3 of them are injured. All 3 of them have bloody noses, black eyes. All 3 of them are semi-conscious from the fist fight. And the paramedic says, oh no, this one is the one who threw the first punch, so the other 2 are the only ones who are going to the hospital. He can just sit there and die. That's what we're looking at here, and that's an outlandish example, but I'm trying to portray to you the idea that all 3 of these guys got in an argument, but Nick is like, and only 2 of them are hurt. Only 2 of them are bothered by it. It's very manipulative. You can take as many shots and throw as many bricks as you want at me, Brandon. Fuck, I read that wrong. This is a wrestling promo right here. I should have read it like this. You can take as many shots and throw as many bricks at me as you want, Brandon. But oh yeah, you're gonna, it's so silly. But you burned innocent people, my friends, our friends, purely over your grudge against me. You committed the ultimate sin. Oh, I'm sorry. You committed the crime this time and made innocent, good people suffer for your own venomous needs. What crime? What crime? Asking to not have you on a podcast, Nick, and then leaving the podcast because that wish, request, demand, whatever you want to put it, leaving the podcast because that wasn't honored. That's a crime. Is it a hate crime because you're a furry? Or I don't understand how that's a crime. But again, why be honest? It's a shame. It's a shame to me to go through so many of these fucking videos about these fucking people who just say whatever sounds good in the moment and just, will use deception and lies and manipulation. It fucking sucks to have to do this about somebody that I sort of knew. It fucking sucks to have somebody that I sort of was friendly with within a show just turn around and be one of these people who just spits, like vomits word salad and expects everybody to be on their side. I've seen this so much before, and I point this out in every goddamn video. You can't just say whatever you think sounds good. It has to actually be fucking true, dude. My God. So what even happened, and how did we get to this point? Let's walk it back a moment to mid-2016. With Nightmind, I had With Nightmind, I had initially... I'm not going to do the voice. I'm not going to do Nick's voice. Never mind. With Nightmind, I had initially resolved to do one thing: provide channels that had made really awesome things. Oh, an awesome channel? A channel that's awesome? A channel awesome? Is that what you were trying to create? Oh man, I need to get my shit together because this is going to take forever. With Nightmind, I had initially resolved to do one thing: provide channels that had made really awesome things that hadn't been explored to their full artistic depth, the chance for everyone to see and appreciate them. Yeah, because nobody saw Marble Hornets or Don't Hug Me I'm Scared or Alan Tutorial. You know, Nightmind is a explained channel. It's a theory channel. There is a dearth of explained channels, and I think dearth is the right word. There is a glut of explained, theory, all these other channels. This is just another one of them. This is like horror game theory. And if you've seen, a lot of Nick's videos, you'll know that he does engage in things that are not, actually true about the content. Just like, that's just a theory. I think Petscop is not about these murdered children. That's just a theory, that type of thing. So let's not go overboard here. What you did was create a channel that was like all the other channels, explaining and theorizing about content. And going into the unexplored, lesser-known ARGs and things like that, are you sure that wasn't just the fact that you needed more content to cover? I mean, are you sure it's not just that you run out of the popular ARGs and then you start going into like the less popular ones? You sure that's not what it was? I don't know. I'll have to look back at Nick's channel sometime when I actually give a fuck, and I'll see where he started and where he ended up. Because I mean, if you launch the channel and you're talking about all popular stuff, that's not starting the channel to show things people haven't seen. Now, I could be wrong. And that's how he started. I started with the Slenderverse. Oh, no. It's right there. I started with the Slenderverse, went through Alan Tutorial, covered the Adult Swim stuff around that time. None of that is unexplored to its depth. None of that is you providing channels that made awesome things but haven't been fully explored. That's you covering Slenderman, Alan Tutorial, one of the most popular ARGs on YouTube, if you could call it that, and fucking Adult Swim, a fucking cable channel. The home of Rick and Morty, really? Those are like the hidden gems that you've polished off? Okay. Stuff around that time, and then opened 2016 with an even bigger vision: take my approach to as many of the new and developing creators as possible. Yeah, you ran out of stuff to cover and had to find smaller things to talk about. Everyone I had just covered and explored, they already made it. They experienced a bit of mountain climbing to be recognized, and the journeys were well underway. What the fuck? I mean, wasn't Alan Tutorial over when Nick started talking about it? Wasn't Adult Swim already a popular channel when he started talking about it? What is this thing? They finally climbed to where they were on their way. They were those rising stars. I don't understand that. I wanted this is again like a narrative building kind of thing. This is I was there at the beginning, and I fostered these small saplings until they grew into mighty oaks. Like, no, sorry, not how it happened. I wanted other people in the field who were... It's just astounding to me. The only reason I'm taking issue with this is because I want to go through this and I want to see just what percentage of this post is bullshit. So I'm gonna pick apart stuff like that. I wanted other people in the field who were just starting to get that to be seen in the same way, and I've been working towards that goal ever since. Okay, so that's why when Petscop became incredibly popular, he covered it after it was incredibly popular, and so on and so forth. As I'm sure that he's covered some things. I know he covered... Nick covered one of those goddamn Elsa channels. One of those pregnant Elsa fucking channels. He covered one of those Finger Family fucking channels. What is this bullshit? I mean, okay, well, whatever. As much success, recognition, and opportunities for the independent creators looking to make livelihoods out of their art. Wait. As much success, recognition, and opportunities for the independent creators looking to make livelihoods out of their art. That's what this has always been about. Seedlings to... Holy fuck! Holy fuck, seedlings to oak trees. He actually uses the turn of phrase I was using to mock him as something outlandish and stupid to say. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Am I psychic, or is it just that I've been through this so many times I know how people behave? However, I could help make it happen. I can't believe it. Around the same time, I got involved with Midnight Marinera, a channel that specialized in doing much the same thing for creepypasta. Okay, which could be considered a text form sibling to the horror web series Field. Buh? David, Dead Palette, Slime Beast. They had all been welcoming. Okay, I'm a guest on the show. I'm not a host, so I didn't welcome you to shit. This is what Nick seems to not realize. I'm not a host on the show. I'm not a co-owner of the show. I'm a guest. I'm a guy who's on infrequently. And what he's going to do here is roll me in, because I did skim down below. What I did was I, looked for mention of myself, and I was like, please tell me that this isn't going to be like some bullshit about me. Please tell me this is just going to be like, I'm going to read some like boring milquetoast stuff, and I'm going to be like, okay, that's nothing. But no, I looked to see why I had been mentioned in this, what the fucking reason was, and of course, those parts I skimmed were like, okay, I have to address this. But yeah, here we go. I'm apparently the third host of Undercooked Analysis. No mention of Kayla. No mention of Alan. I'm trying to think of anybody else who might have been, included before me. I mean, I'm not... As I said, I'm just some guy who's a guest on the show once in a while. There's multiple people who could have been and should have been included before me. They had all been welcoming. They were fun guys, and they were smart guys. You don't actually know me, and you haven't spoken to me, so... it seems weird. I know, it seems weird for me to argue with him when he says I'm a fun, smart guy. But he doesn't fucking know that. I could be the most boring, stupid fucker on the face of the earth. He wouldn't know. He hasn't spoken to me, again. I liked them and enjoyed what they were doing, and I had a lot of personal chats with David about how to grow the field, help new writers, and see creepypasta be more legitimized. Okay, if you did that, where is it? If you want to grow the field of creepypasta, help new writers, and legitimize creepypasta, what have you done about that? Now, granted, I don't watch Nick's channel. I've seen a few of his videos that were on subjects I was interested in, but I'm not going to watch, his videos that are on subjects I'm not interested in. So maybe there has been a video I missed where he put out something about how he was legitimizing creepypasta and helping new writers, but other than that, I don't see that. I don't see that. The mainstream world knew two aspects of creepypasta, Slenderman and Jeff the Killer. And the field was what? The field was what? Better than just that. Suddenly I had two fields I wanted to watch and work on raising up. Where the fuck were you then? Maybe somebody, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments what Nick has been doing for creepypasta since he's, pulling this shit about I wanted to help grow the genre and make it the best it could be because I'm magnanimous, New web series could use all the attention and support they could get, and new writers could use all the attention and support they could get. It was, however, going to be one hell of a climb for anyone, no matter what channels like mine and Midnight Marinera did. The best way forward was to just keep moving forward. Alright, so all this stuff we've covered is pointless. All the stuff we've covered right now is meaningless filler. I cannot think of a single thing we just covered that's important. So I guess moving on. Now, enter the figure, Max Landis. The figure. I'm just picturing now, like, his silhouette. Oh, man. I mean, alright, I won't say anything more about that. Being a new channel or creator of anything new, you're endlessly surprised by people who end up watching you or liking your stuff. I was still very new and only making strides. He was a fucking huge channel at that point, let's be honest. He's saying, I was a small, new channel and didn't know what I was doing, and et cetera and so forth. Yeah, but at that point, he was like, even then, he was still like miles beyond anyone else involved in this, whole process. He was like a big fucking high roller in terms of YouTube content and success. So he may be even bigger now, but let's not pretend that little Nicky Nocturne was some little bab, who was just starting out. You know what I mean? I was still very new and only making strides, but genuinely humbled by messages I got and sometimes the people who gave them. Consider this moment. No! Stop trying to get us on your side with this crazy manipulative shit. Alright. I guess we gotta read through it. Alright, so everybody, are you all ready to be guided into Nick's mindset? Okay, here we go. Consider this moment. You're a new YouTuber specializing in extremely niche, under-celebrated media most people don't care for and wouldn't touch. Adult Swim and Slenderman. Sure. And suddenly, a Hollywood writer and director reaches out, sharing appreciation for your work and the stuff you specialize in. Nobody out there... I'm assuming Nick isn't watching this, so nobody out there tell Nick that Hollywood writers and directors tell everybody that they appreciate their work. Okay? Like, nobody break this to him. Don't break his heart. Don't tell him that producers very rarely contact you to say they hate your work, and in fact will tell pretty much anyone, I love what you're doing. You're really great. By the way, can I buy into it? Anyway. This is someone whose everyday life is more busy and impactful to the entire world of media and creativity than your whole week. So fucking... Oh my god. Idol worship. That's, hero worship. And they took the time to say hello to you and say they cared about what you were doing. Yes, I was absolutely awestruck and humbled. This is all useless. This is all pointless. Max didn't have to do this. It's just knob-slobbing Max Landis. It's just bootlicking Max Landis. This, basically, what we're reading is, the dejected, poor little, Cinderella story, cleaning ashes from the fireplace. A wonderful, handsome prince in fine, fancy dress rode a white horse to my door, and he was interested in me. Like, ew, 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 ew. And I just read this line here, and it doesn't go well with what I just said. Max didn't have to do this, not at all, and yet he made himself known. It's like an experience meeting Jesus. I take this all back. Jesus didn't have to do this, yet he revealed himself to me. I could have just been something he watched to keep a pulse on weird media, but he showed me the biggest rush of kindness and support from a place I didn't even dream of being able to approach when I was still what YouTube at large considers a small channel. Have these two people fucked? I mean, I half kid, but now I'm actually wondering. Are Nick Nocturne and Max Landis dating? I don't know. That's just a theory. A night theory. And then I learned he was making a TV show based on adapting creepypasta. Oh my god, prayers answered. Fuck. If anybody out there is praying for a creepypasta TV show, Please, please pray for something more worthwhile and meaningful in life. Holy shit. Pray for a new car. That's even better than... Oh my goodness. Can you imagine... Okay. Could you imagine sitting home at night and praying, please, please let there be a creepypasta television show? Like, who gives an absolute fuck? Creepypasta as a field had finally grown big enough to be recognized by the absolute top of the ladder for a major production. Max Landis is not the absolute top of the ladder. Are you fucking kidding me? What does he have? A 50-50 success flop rate with his projects? I mean, I'm not saying, he has had good projects. I haven't seen them, but I'm sure he has. I've heard, people say that they're good. Absolute top of the ladder for... We're not talking about his dad. We're not talking about Steven Spielberg. We're not talking about even George Lucas, for fuck's sake. We're not talking about Quentin Tarantino. We're not talking about even Michael Bay. Michael Bay, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Max fucking Landis, dude. The guy who hops from YouTube show to YouTube show, just trying to see, who's going to pay the most attention to him today. I mean, that's not the top of the ladder, but yeah. The art form would be legitimized. New creators would be seen as possibilities going forward by major publications and producers. Art form can't be legitimized by a shitty fucking show. I mean, it's like saying, finally, the movie Pixels was made, and professional gamers would be legitimized. Nope. That's not what's gonna happen. That's not how that worked out. But yeah. The idea that someone typing up spooky short stories online would only ever be able to entertain internet strangers and stay stuck in a dead-end job, wishing they could do more, was over. Are you fucking kidding me, Nick? How out of touch can you be? How fucking out of touch can you be? Do you not... Okay. How is it that anyone could not understand that everybody working in the entertainment industry as a writer, everybody was stuck in a dead-end job sitting at home writing, shit on their computer? Those days were over. The days when nobody got a job if they started out in a different job. Like, what the fuck? Every screenwriter out there started out writing short stories online or on their computer. It boggles the mind. It's all gibberish. Had anyone at all done this, I would have been right there as a supporter with a smile on my face. But it wasn't just a random studio or random executive producer. It was someone who had been unnecessarily and extraordinarily supportive and kind to me. A person who was someone told me nobody that they enjoyed. A person who was someone told me nobody that enjoyed what I was... Oh, fuck. He's speaking in tongues now. Speaking in tongues because the appearance of Jesus has caused him to speak in gibberish. But yeah, they enjoyed what I was doing and that I stood for. Okay, so right now we've got an explanation that Max Landis approached him, and Nick was so fucking honored by being approached by Max Landis, who was so nice to him and so, extraordinarily supportive of him, monetarily, mind you, on Patreon. Let me just say this. What does that sound like other than bias? What does that sound like other than a lack of integrity toward judging the works of somebody because you're so fucking infatuated with them? I don't know. It just seems like he has written out a whole big explanation of where his biases come from when reviewing something. If he's talking about an ARG on Nightmind, and the person who creates the ARG, contacts him beforehand and is exceedingly nice and backs him on Patreon Does that mean that Nick is going to therefore support the ARG? Because he's like, oh, this person was so nice and he took, interest in little old me. I don't know. It just seems that way from this extreme, extreme bias that is being laid out before us. Anyway, that is exactly how it felt back then, and I had a chance to repay that kindness with the little passionate following I had. Max had been friendly to me and done a lot by saying just a little, can you stop talking about how fucking... Oh my god. I don't want to hear any more about Max and his perfume-scented anus, okay? Probably having no idea what it meant to me, I wanted to repay that as much as I could. That is, again, bias. And then, when it came to the Midnight Marinara discussion of this upcoming first big break in creepypasta, all capitalized to make it sound important when it's not, I found I was the only optimistic person in the room, a.k.a. the dumbass. It doesn't say a.k.a. the dumbass in the post. It says I was the only optimistic person in the room. Another way of saying I was the only one out of this group of people who didn't see the problems with an adaptation of Candle Cove that makes it about child murders and psychic boys and cosplaying grandmas and all this fucking random ass bullshit and children made of teeth, how surprising, how shocking to find that you're the only optimistic person in the room. Maybe that should tell you something. Maybe that should tell you that you should, separate yourself a bit from the idea of Max Landis as the Godchild. I don't know. And then the teaser trailer and the synopsis came out, and the feelings got worse. Actually, I don't know. I don't remember it that way. I think that the synopsis and teaser type stuff was already coming out around that point. Here's the reason why. I know myself. And I would not be telling Nick that the Channel Zero adaptation of Candle Cove was going to suck shit unless I had some evidence to think so. So I know for a fact that we knew some things about what was going to be done on the show. There may not have been extended trailers. It may have just been images of the Tooth Child, different things like that. But yeah, I don't. This is off base here. I have to go back and see exactly what was released around that time. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I know for sure that this is a bit off the mark. He could just be remembering this wrong. I'm not going to say that he's totally just lying. But yeah, the things came out. Things came out that made Dead Palette and I distressed about the prospects for the show. And that's why we were not optimistic. That's why Nick was the only optimistic person in the room. So to say then the information came out is not true. All right, what do you do when a group of friends... What do you do when a group of friends disparages the upcoming work of another friend? Nothing, because it's not your fucking business. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was an actual question. Never mind, let me read on. What do you do when a group of friends disparages the upcoming work of another friend that you were excited for, especially when that work seems like a gift for everyone? Because, Max Landis died for our sins on the cross. What is this? What is this? I'm legitimately confused right now about... Are they fucking? Are they fucking? I don't know. It's hard to tell. That's Nick. Nick, if you watch this, I don't mean to be so fucking mean, but you've written this to such an extent, to such a maudlin, emotional extent, that I legitimately can't tell if... I legitimately can't tell if you guys have some sort of relationship. I legitimately can't tell. I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying I legitimately cannot tell if you're dating. Or, sexting or whatever. And that may be, that may be inappropriate to say, but I'm giving my on the fly, off the cuff response to this. I legitimately can't tell. Max Landis approached me and I kissed the hem of his garment is what I'm reading here. I felt trapped between two sides with no clear way forward. Ooh, it's none of your business, so why would you even be involved? What? It's strange. It's strange. If Nick didn't like something that we liked, can anybody imagine myself or Dead Palette or David saying, Nick didn't like what I like. I didn't know how to get, move forward. I felt trapped. Like, just fucking deal with it. Put on your big boy pants, I could A, support this endeavor that would break down a wall for indie horror and dark storytelling creators while also paying Max back for his support. Again, bias, like you owe him. And also, as you can see, it did not break down a wall for indie horror or dark storytelling creators. It has just been a moderately, semi-reasonably successful sci-fi show, within the scope of sci-fi, the Sci-Fi Channel. It hasn't been moderately successful in the realm of television as a whole. It's been moderately successful for the Sci-Fi Channel, with a very low number of reviews, etc. and so forth. B, leave Channel Zero alone. Don't give it any lift with this group of supporters I'd pulled together. Ignore Max and keep the peace with the friends who I'd made before him that had also been kind to me. Fucking liar. Okay, here's a big problem here. This section right here, absolute made-up bullshit. I can't speak for David and Dead Palette entirely, but I can say that none of us said or did anything that would lead Nick to think he couldn't make the video he wanted to make. None of us said or did anything that would make Nick think he could not do his own video. I mean, I don't even know what videos David and Dead Palette are making, unless I'm asked to be in something. I have no fucking idea what they're doing. They have no idea what I'm doing. None of us had any idea what Nick was planning to do. Nick didn't have any idea what we were planning to do. We're all just a loose association of people. Especially me and Nick being just guests on the show, not co-hosts. So this idea that he would have to leave Channel Zero alone, not talk about it, in order to keep the peace with us. Bullshit. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gave a fuck what Nick would do. Nobody cared if he made a video about the show and if it was positive or negative. That's a real interesting thing to me. Because that's telling his audience, his large audience of people, if I made the Channel Zero video, these guys would go nuts on me. Like, no. Good God. Anyway, things came to a real point of anxiety for me when Dead Palette and Slime Beast went out of their way to directly throw shade at Max publicly on Twitter. Okay, you guys ready? Everybody watching this, you ready to see me and Dead Palette throwing shade at Max, going out of our way to throw shade at him? Okay, so here's Dead Palette's tweet. Series of murders and one man's dark secret. This is what Candle Cove is now? Max Landis is off the mark. Insert air horns here, I guess, for that epic burn? No, it seems more like he's just posting his opinion about what he's read and what he's seen about the show. To which Max Landis, ironically enough, goes out of his way to throw shade at Dead Palette, the opposite of what you fucking said happened, right before you linked this image that disproves what you're saying, Nick. Max replies with, "You have literally no idea what you're talking about." to a goddamn creepypasta author on a creepypasta review show. He has no idea what he's talking about. What we have here is actually Max having no idea who he's talking to or what he's talking about. But yeah. My reply, he knows a fuck ton. Oh, wow, shit. Look at me throwing shade, going out of my way to throw shade at Max Landis, saying that DP actually does know what he's talking about. Ouch! Ouch! Damn, does Max Landis need some soothing balm for that burn? It seems more like Dead Palette and I are having some sort of Twitter conversation in which we are saying we're not happy with the way the show went. Actually, I didn't even say that. I just said that Dead Palette does know about creepypasta. So I didn't even say that. But yeah, why the fuck would you lie? Why the fuck would you lie, Nick, and say that we went out of our way to directly throw shade at Max when Dead Palette tweets that he doesn't like what he sees about the show, and I chime in afterwards saying Dead Palette actually does know about creepypasta? Why the fuck would you lie right before you post something that disproves what you said? That's just sloppy. It's just sloppy. I don't understand it. Anyway, Chris Straub is the writer for Candle Cove. The writer of Candle Cove, you mean? The writer for Candle Cove would seem to mean, like, the person who wrote the show version. You mean the writer of Candle Cove. The story that was first adapted for Channel Zero. In that thread, he ends up giving the adaptation his seal of approval when it comes to writing. That tweet is in a mix of back and forth between Max and Slimebeast. So yeah, Chris Straub, who was paid for the rights to his story, said that the person who paid him for the rights to his story was good. Nick, I'm starting to think maybe you actually don't know the definition of bias. I don't know. Anyway, here we get into the bitch fit. Okay, fun fact. You can find the public evidence on Max's Twitter of him actually approaching Slimebeast to talk about his big creepypasta hit, Abandoned by Disney. Anyway, talks between Slimebeast and Max ended up not working out and broke down. So Slimebeast didn't get taken up as a writer for the show or having his work adapted. Alright, let's unpack this. Let's unpack this right here. Talks between Slimebeast and Max ended up not working out and broke down. That is true. Max was a dillhole. What he did was he asked me to recommend other creepypastas in the genre that I thought might also be good for a television show. And then he never responded to me a fucking again and licensed one of the ones I recommended instead. So I responded to that. That's fully within his rights, by the way. Fully within his right to do. And I'm fucking glad it happened because I would never want one of my stories turned into what Channel Zero became. I mean, that's like a dodged bullet. But fully within his rights to never contact me again and license one of the stories I suggested to him instead. Totally within his rights. But yeah, I told him, that I didn't think that was really cool, personally, on an interpersonal level. And then, he responded back, saying that I, basically the typical butthurt rich boy type stuff, about how I would never work in this business and blah, 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 blah. So Slimebeast didn't get taken up as a writer for the show. Okay, I was never offered to be a writer for the show. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Or having his work adapted. Here's the funny thing. Max Landis, after I told him I didn't think it was cool what happened, he said he actually tried to say to me, well, maybe we could do one of your other stories for season 3. To which I replied and said, yeah, no, I don't think so. No, thank you. That will not be happening. So, to correct your sentence here, Nick, talks between Slimebeast and Max ended up not working out and broke down. Slimebeast was never going to be a writer for the show and told Max he could not adapt his work. Just correcting that for you. Nick. I don't... I'm sure that you heard it the other way, but only between Max and myself, only one of us has the email conversations to back up what we say. My guess is that Max probably took the idea to the legal department, and in the wake of Escape from Tomorrow, Disney was ready to go to war over any depictions of anything related to them that they didn't fully approve. No, actually, I told him not. Okay, whatever, Nick. It's just put your guess in here. My guess is that write a nice big long blog about the facts and the course of events that happened, and then just pepper in your guesses. Just pepper in some guesses about what happened. Just like your videos. Anyway, gee, I wonder if Slimebeast happened to have a chip on his shoulder already when it came to Max. Buh? Okay, so, bitch, let me clarify something for you. I didn't know who Max Landis was until he contacted me. Because Max Landis contacted me, I answered him back, and I said, Landis. That, sounds like something else. And I thought to myself, here's somebody trying to pretend that he's related to somebody in Hollywood. Here's somebody with either with the last name or who's changed his name or has a pseudonym, and he's trying to sound like he's someone related to somebody famous in Hollywood. So I was like, I got you here, Max Landis. You big fake, you fraud, you phony. Emailing me about a supposed creepypasta show with your fake name. So I went and looked it up. I Googled it, and I was like, oh shit, he actually is the guy's son. Never mind. I was wrong. Holy shit. So it's just funny. It's funny to see this guy. It's funny to see Nick, who I had no problem with, and I had no interactions with. It's funny to see him fucking lying for no reason. Why would I have a chip on my shoulder already when it came to Max? Before Max Landis was involved in making Channel Zero, and to be clear, he contacted me before anything had been done on Channel Zero. How would I have any impression of him that was negative before Channel Zero? He's unrelated to the creepypasta community before that. It's weird. It's very weird, Nick. You're a weird boy. You're a weird little dude. I don't know what's wrong with you, buddy. But that's just an aside to the story. That's just a game theory. This Twitter exchange was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Who gives a fuck what you think? Who gives a fuck? People are talking on Twitter and it doesn't involve you, but it's the straw that broke the camel's back for you. The uninvolved party. I was pissed off at DP and Slimebeast for having fucking opinions? I guess, Nick Nocturne, I guess it's very surprising to you for somebody to have actual opinions and not just suck cocks. I guess that's surprising to you. It must be shocking that people wouldn't immediately like all the media that, is offered to them. My God. This reads like this reads like something written by all the people who say, you can't judge a movie until you've seen it. Like, boy, did you see the new, trailer for the next Transformers movie? Holy crap, that looks like ass. And then there's that one motherfucker who's like, you can't decide if the movie's good or bad if you haven't seen it yet. It's not even out. It's like, no, I can have an opinion on whatever I damn well fucking choose. I know what I like, I know what I don't like. So yeah, apparently me and Dead Palette having this tepid disagreement with Max Landis pissed off Nick. Max Landis has a smile that Nick has pledged to protect, and he'll be damned if anyone is going to soil Milady's name. I was pissed off at DP and Slimebeast, especially because they were figures for the creepypasta community. I decide what I am, not you. Fuck off. How could they look at this one big break the field they loved was getting and spit in its eye? How could they look at this one big break the field they loved was getting and spit in its eye? Hey, everybody. Have you seen that new preview for the Jeff the Killer movie? It stars Rob Schneider. Adam Sandler plays his brother. Jane is played by, I don't know, Amy Schumer. That movie looks, how can any of you say that doesn't sound like a good movie? How could you look at an Adam Sandler movie, a big Hollywood release, with Amy Schumer, and spit in the eye of that wonderful project that's going to be so good for the creepypasta community? Give me a break, dude. How could you spit in its eye? Damn it, Nick. You're right. How could Dead Palette and I decide we didn't like something? We should know that it's not allowed. If you're somebody who's a figure in the creepypasta community, you have to like everything in the creepypasta community. You have to like all the shows, all the movies, everything that comes out. The Slender Man movie coming out, this new one, everybody better love that because it's part of the community. Fuck off, dude. Fuck the fuck off. They were writers too, for the love of God. Why would they throw rocks at the one guy who was looking to adapt their kind of work for major production? Oh baby Nikki. This manipulation, this emotional manipulation. First of all, saying that we don't like something and disagreeing with somebody who's producing it is not throwing rocks at them. Because if it were, Nick, buddy, I could sit here and say, Nick, why are you on your Tumblr blog throwing rocks at the one guy who wanted to appear on Undercooked Analysis with you? Like, what the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. The one guy, this is the other part of it. The one guy who was looking to adapt... Jesus Christ. I've been contacted by multiple people who are like, I'd be interested in making movies out of your stories. What do you think about this, that, other thing? And it's always some kind of weird, fucking shit that I'm not really into. There's never been that one email, that one message, that one contact where someone is like, here's the perfect project, and I'm like, fuck yeah, finally. It's always these things that I'm not really into. So I mean, Max Landis is not the one guy who is looking to adapt my work for a major production. Sorry to break it to you. I mean, I know, Nick, that you're very used to talking about things you don't know as if you know. But in this case, I can stand here and tell you that you're wrong. So that was kind of a bad choice. It was kind of a bad choice in this instance to pretend you fucking knew. Why were you making an enemy of someone looking to do major things for your entire art field when you live to support that art field? First of all... Oh, God. First of all, if I make an enemy out of somebody by critiquing what they're doing, they're not worth having as a connection. If I say I don't like the way a project looks, the way it's coming out, and somebody gets so fucking offended that they become my enemy, fuck them. I don't need them in my life. I don't need them in my circle. That's ridiculous. This is, again, more knob slobbery from Nick Nocturne. It's just this idea of you have to get along with everybody and you have to like everything they produce. Make friends of everyone by, lying and saying you like their project. Gross. It's absolutely gross. And I don't live to support that art field. I live to support myself. I live to support my family. I live to support my household, Nick. I don't live to support the art field. I don't live to support you. I don't live to support Max Landis. I don't live to support any other fucking authors. When and if I support other people, it is out of my own wish to help them. It is out of my own wish to get a group of people together under the Too Spooky community or anything else and try to have a place for people who want to write together or work together or talk together about the genre. I don't live to support the art field. I live to support myself, and so do you, Nick. Whatever else you want to say. So does every artist. Because I fucking guarantee you, if you take any artist and put them in abject poverty, they're not going to sit there and waste away and starve to death just supporting the art field. So, this thing, it bothers me how much Nick is just telling everybody what I think and how I feel and what I live for. Not your decision, pal. Very dishonest. I felt like I was going crazy, not my problem, and my time was running out to make a stand. I asked David of Midnight Marinera, how many times is he going to point out what he's from, what to do, and he did say to discuss it privately with both of them, and I really wanted to go through with this and felt concerned about the possibility of them contradicting me up and down in the comments section for any potential video. So, to summarize that, Nick was afraid someone would disagree with him. That ultimately is what it was about. I didn't want to make this video, be supportive of this endeavor and a friend, and have two other friends everyone knew I was on good terms with come into the comments section and cause this big public brawl between all of us, and not only destroy my efforts, but ruin our relationship in a very open and obvious way. Well, aren't you a little Miss Psychic? Aren't you just the diviner of the future who knows exactly what everybody's going to do? Dismissed. We're getting rid of your bullshit. We're moving right past that because that's just a bunch of speculative crap. I knew that Dead Palette and Slimebeast, the tag team of chaos, would come into my comments and destroy the world. Fuck off. I wanted to keep peace. I wanted to keep friends. I wanted to support something I thought would be incredible and repay a kindness. I wanted to bake the cake, have it on the table, and eat it too. Your problem, not mine. Maybe lay the fuck off me. Like where you say, I wouldn't be surprised if Slimebeast had a chip on his shoulder. Maybe fucking lay off the insults and the bullshit and the bitchiness when you're openly admitting that you're at fault. Maybe don't temper your admissions of guilt with insults against the other people you wronged. But whatever, just a thought. My solution to this whole situation was absolutely how David put it, idiotic. I was an awkward, confused idiot. Well, not much has changed. I mean, when you go into insulting people and speaking for people and misstating things, like, I would say lying about things, maybe you just misremember, that doesn't show that you've grown out of being an awkward, confused idiot. I ended up going into our Skype group and explaining that I had a video I wanted to make about Channel Zero, and that even though I knew they didn't like it, I just wanted things in the comments to remain neutral and be only what the viewers put. I asked them not to comment, because apparently Dead Palette and I aren't viewers. Only the viewers, only the people who matter. Only the good boys. Yeah, he asked us not to make, negative comments about it. Bad, stupid, bad, and rude. Okay, so I don't know how many people are still reading to this point. This is a big old wall of text. And it takes a fucking long time for Nick to admit that he was at fault. Kind of sucks that a lot of people probably won't read that far and will only read the parts where you're insulting or talking about Brandon and myself. Kind of funny how that works. Slimebeast shrugged it off. He didn't care. Actually, don't speak for me. Again, I said I had no plans to watch the video, so I wouldn't, be commenting anyway. That's a sight different from me saying I didn't care. Slimebeast shrugged it off. He didn't care. Mischaracterization, misrepresentation. Nick asked Dead Palette and me not to comment. I said to him, I'm not planning to watch the video, so it doesn't matter either way. That's a bit different. It's a bit different from what you said here, Nick. Dead Palette took offense, lots of offense, and about right to the point where you should be offended by someone being as stupid and insensitive as I was. And then, well, then we talked privately, where he took it up the level you reserve for someone who calls you a racial slur or kicks your dog right in front of you. Again, Nick, don't tell other people how they have to behave. Dead Palette got too mad at me. In fact, that was the level of mad for when someone calls you the N-word. It's not your fucking choice. I wish I had the screenshots for this conversation. I checked my history, but Skype database ends 2 days after, which is unfortunate. Well, I'm sure Dead Palette has the screenshots. Nick, anything going to be different from what you said in those screenshots? But the Skype database ends there, blah, blah, blah. Because if there's anything I've learned by now, it's that I should expect Dead Palette to attack me by painting things in a half light. Bitch, that's what you fucking did to me in this goddamn thread. In this goddamn Tumblr post, whatever the hell you call it. Nick attacks me and paints things in a half light and says that he, oh, Dead Palette does that to me. Man, Nick, man, was this a bad post. Man, was this a bad idea. Because you just proved that you're the one doing that. And now you accuse someone else of it. So, I don't know how much I can trust you now when you say that about DP. Because I've seen you do it. Why should I trust you when you say someone else does it? So don't be surprised if he takes very cropped and specific screenshots to give you an impression that works in his favor. Oh, man, he's accusing... Oh, Nick knows. Nick knows that the screenshots aren't going to line up with what he's claiming, so he's already setting out an excuse as to why that would be. They're edited. Oh, man. That's a shame. That's a real shame. I'm actually more disappointed in that now than I was reading the rest of this. That's what every motherfucker says. That's what every motherfucker says when they know that the screenshots are not going to match up to what they're claiming. They say, I'm sure that when he does show the screenshots, they'll be edited. That is the oldest fucking trick. Oh my god, I'm disappointed in that. Man, this was either on or right around 9/12/16, and in talking about why I didn't want him and Slimebeast bringing the Channel Zero beatdown into my comments, again, misrepresenting Dead Palette and I simply having our own fucking opinions, calling it a beatdown. I mean, if Nick Nocturne baked a cake, since he's talking about cake, if Nick Nocturne baked a cake and served it to me and Dead Palette, and we didn't like it, I could just picture Nick Nocturne saying, I didn't want to hear what they thought about my cake, because I didn't want them bringing the literal second Holocaust to me by saying that they didn't like it. You know, what the fuck? Bring the beat down into my comment section. Oh, man. Opinions are violence, folks. I did talk about my reasons why. I talked about my reasons why. He actually didn't tell me why. Let me just think here. I talked about my reasons why. No, he didn't tell me why. I didn't find out that he knew Max and that Max was a backer of his until later. What he did was he came into the Skype conversation, and I'm going off my own memory here. Came into the Skype conversation and asked Dead Palette and me not to talk about it because Max Landis might be watching. He might watch the video and he might check the comments. That was what he told us. He didn't tell me. He didn't go through all this other stuff about this show is so good for creepypasta and this is going to bring it to the main stage and it'll help support writers. And, you know, I'm beholden to Max Landis because he's such a close friend and whatever. None of that. He just said, you know, Max Landis might be looking, so not to talk bad about Channel Zero in his comments. Interesting. I also mentioned that even with the stuff we'd seen as promotion for it already, the show wasn't out yet. We hadn't actually seen the product. Here we are back to, you're not allowed to not want to see the next Transformers movie because you've only seen the trailer. You haven't watched the movie, so you don't know it's bad. That's very flawed logic that never works. I think I agreed that from a standpoint of looking like a genuine adaptation of Candle Cove up to that point, it was a miserable failure or something to that degree. No. But that's besides the point. Things get weird adaptations sometimes that sometimes end up better than the source material, and still we hadn't seen the show. Irrelevant gibberish nonsense continues. More padding that doesn't matter. Pardon me. Maybe Channel Zero was going to be a big bag of utter shit, but until we saw that, until we knew that, we had to give it a chance and be supportive of literally the only major thing to happen in the field of creepypasta as a good thing. No. So what we've got here is Nick literally saying that until the show came out, Dead Palette and I weren't allowed to have a negative opinion about it. He says, he literally says, we had to give it a chance and be supportive. I don't have to give anything a chance or be supportive of it. I can like or not like what I want. This is very controlling, manipulative behavior. Again, you can see the manipulation and narrative building in this very post. This seems to be a thing with Nick, manipulating people to do what he wants and think what he wants. Interesting. The Slenderman stabbing sure didn't help us. Irrelevant bullshit. So it was a miracle that we got this alone. No, it wasn't. And damn it, yes, I was going to support Max. Surprise. Because even if something a friend is making looks like it's going to suck, you be there to support them. Especially when they've been generously kind to you. Yeah, but, here's the problem, Nick. Max is your friend, not ours. So if you're going to suck his dick and pretend you like what he's doing or whatever, that doesn't mean that anybody else has to. Again, this is just more manipulative shit trying to make us behave like him. Trying to make us do what he does and think how he thinks. And it's like ridiculous because there's no way on earth that's going to work. It's silly on the face of it. I also remember I said some pretty weak things about being a journalist as well as a reviewer, which is the extra branch. A journalist who's incredibly biased toward the person whose work he's reviewing, as witnessed in this very post. Oh my god. Which is the extra branch I wanted to add to Nightmind videos by covering horror community news. But Dead Palette was right. Okay, I spoke too soon. But Dead Palette was right in skewering me on that one. A journalist just says what's happening to let people know what's happening, not because they want to support a friend or something that will help a cause they stand for. Okay, so we got to that. We worked around to that. This is a long fucking post. How long is this fucking thing? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nick, buddy. Oh, Jesus. Brevity is the soul of wit, my friend. And this post is witless. In talking to Dead Palette, I began to recognize just how wrong I was to ask him what I had. So here's the thing. Here's a very interesting thing. Nick does this weird thing with this post where he's like, how could they not see it was wonderful? This was wonderful for the community. It was bad for them to talk it down. They're writers. They should be supporting it. And then, later on he says, I realized I was wrong. Like, again, cut all this filler out. This could have been a Tumblr post that was just like, yeah, I was wrong. Could have been one sentence. I began to recognize just how wrong I was to ask him what I had. Truth is, I did do something stupid and inconsiderate and just wrong. Even if I wanted things to go cleanly for the comment section, I didn't get to ask a friend to not speak their mind. Why did we need all the lead into this? I don't remember precisely what happened for the end of talking with Dead Palette, but I remember the hours spent after that. I wasn't in a good place, didn't feel good, knew I hadn't done good, and I'd made things worse. I began to think about things more and really analyze the situation from all sides. Blah, yeah, I fucked up. Even if I was foolish enough to think my tactic was minimizing the effect of choosing sides, I still ended up choosing a side. You ended up choosing a side. You came into it with a side. I'm trying not to nitpick that much, but it's hard not to nitpick because there are so many nits just there for the picking. And in trying to prevent a bad situation, I caved into anxiety and fear and created the situation I didn't want. I went to talk to David about things. Did you two talk outside of the committee? Yep. Oh boy. You know, I was going to say he was the one you needed to speak to most. Yeah, it wasn't good. Fuck. Yeah, you don't need to speak to me because I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't, you know, I said openly in the Skype chat, not watching the video, don't care. Yeah, it wasn't good. He says he won't comment and he wasn't planning to, but that I'm still a dick. I get that. And I suppose I am. I told him the more real reasons I didn't want any comments on the video concerning Max. He wasn't happy about that either. I understand what you were trying to do. I know you do. I appreciate it. This is where the whole live and learn principle comes in. I'm just reading back and forth between Nightmind and David King, for anybody who doesn't know. I hope that David King gave permission to release this, but whatever. But, kitty cat, why are you meowing at me? Why are you meowing at me? But in the end, Dead Palette is right. My fears were about Max not being happy over me not defending Channel Zero in the comments if comments were made by him or Slimebeast. Or anybody else. Here's a fun fact. Literally anybody else, besides me and Dead Palette, could also comment that they don't like the show. What you gonna do then? Maybe just delete their posts, I guess. I don't know. When actually I could have just let it happen because my recognizing Channel Zero on Nightmind alone would have been good in his eyes. God, it's disturbing how much this is in service of Max Landis as a person. It's weird. It's a weird reaction. In his eyes, I would have done what, you know, like, ugh. He already knows DP and Slimebeast are against it, so it wouldn't have been a surprise. Dead Palette is right. I got neurotic. It's just so goddamn hard not to. Not to now. My channel is the only thing in my life that actually matters besides my friends and family. Doing right by everything involved in it is so important to me. Yeah, I think pretty much everybody in the world has something that's important to them aside from their friends and family. You're trying to protect your brand, I get that part too, but it's a fine line to walk. It is. I didn't think this was a thing that could happen. I didn't want to choose sides, but where I went wrong was thinking that I would even have to and trying to prevent something that most likely wouldn't happen. Again, this is so weird how this post is almost bipolar. In parts of it, it's like spitting venom at Dead Palette and me, which I take the most umbrage when it's spitting venom at me, because I ain't involved with Nick, and I don't fucking know Nick. It's just out of nowhere. You know, Dead Palette and him, you know, actually did have a fight, so I can say, you know, well, there was a fight, so, you know, there's going to be venom. But what the fuck? You know, it's so bipolar because there's all this venom and bullshit, and yet these things where Nick is like, I was wrong. It's like, if you were wrong, fucking accept it and stop trying to blame other people. Period. I don't care how mad Dead Palette got. I don't care how mad he got. If you caused it and you admit that you caused it, you have no fucking right to sit there and say, you know, Dead Palette is wrong for not forgiving me. That's you know, something somebody can choose to do or not do. I don't know. It's weird. It did seem odd to me that was how you opened it, but I'm understanding now. I also know where DP is coming from too, and Slimebeast for that matter. They wouldn't have been assholes to you or your fans because they already know you and would take that into account because they also don't want your channel to fail. I really don't care if his channel succeeds or fails. I don't want his channel to fail, and I don't want his channel to succeed. I have no opinion on Nick Nocturne's channel. I don't care. I don't know Nick Nocturne. But they're still going in to voice their opinions. It does not and still doesn't have to be a matter of sides. I apologize to Dead Palette and Skype more profusely with an explanation of why I realized he was right a couple hours after we stopped talking. He hasn't responded. I guess he just went offline. A lot of this isn't relevant. A lot of this screenshot stuff is not relevant to anything. And I don't know why it's here. It's probably here because it just looks good to show screenshots of conversations as if it proves something. As for me, I encourage discourse in all forms. I want to see discussion. I want to see opinions challenged on both ends. It doesn't have to be a debate, but a discussion. Yeah, I think he's offline. I know, I was just afraid of having to deal with it and burning any bridges to keep others. It's okay. Just be honest with DP and admit where you made a mistake. It sounds like you already have / are doing that. That's what matters to me. I did. I just need to wait and see his response and know it's relatively okay. And I can't read what's in that screenshot within a screenshot That's asking a bit much for me to read that. You get, oh, fuck. Here's a full version of the apology I left for Dead Palette. Alright, let me just take a drink here. I'm sorry this is so long, guys, but I literally just saw this and I'm like, I'm going to read through it as if I were doing a live stream. I'm just going to go. Here's a full version of the apology I left for Dead Palette. I've looked at it from every angle, and I can really see very plainly that I'm wrong. This wasn't right of me to ask, and it seriously wasn't even a request I needed to make. It was, quite frankly, fucking stupid of me to ask and even think I needed to. Just because you have a different opinion you'd potentially write in the comments section of the video doesn't mean anything in terms of how I'm viewed by anyone. I'm fucking neurotic. I'm sorry, Brandon. I took a flight of anxiety-fueled imagination to its worst extreme and tried to block a path of possibility that wasn't even going to happen. What? I don't understand that. It was really stupid. It was insulting to ask you not to comment, and even if I hadn't meant insult, you were right to take it like one, because it is insulting. It's like if I said your opinion wasn't wanted or valuable, even I didn't feel that way. That's just how someone feels when they're told don't express yourself. It's very clear that the opinion wasn't wanted. Saying somebody shouldn't post their opinion is saying that the opinion isn't wanted. So it's like if I said your opinion wasn't wanted, you did say it wasn't wanted by saying don't post it. But I'm just quibbling. I'm just nitpicking. You can say whatever you like about Channel Zero or Candle Cove if you want to. Like, he's giving permission. If you watch the video, I rescind my request. And you know, I didn't even need to make it in the first place. I'm sorry about all of this. Please let me know if there's a way to make it up to you, or if you want one. I'm thinking that a reading in the first storybook episode this October could be great, or if you write something I can have it in there, just let me know. So this is where Dead Palette has described this as Nick apologizing for offending Brandon for Dead Palette. Apologizing for offending Dead Palette, aka Brandon. I took a flight of anxiety-fueled imagination to its worst extreme and tried to block a path of possibility that wasn't even going to happen. So he's apologizing for trying to stop Dead Palette from commenting on the video. In other things I've seen, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but I remember hearing that Nick apologized for putting like business before friends and different things like that, but I don't see that here. I'm treading very lightly here because this may not be the entire conversation, so on and so forth. What I see here is an apology for asking Brandon not to comment in general. And it's been said elsewhere that Nick said he apologized for putting something before friendship and so on and so forth, which is not what he's apologized to Brandon for here. At the end, also, about offering to let Brandon appear on the Nightmind channel as an apology or as a way to make it up to him. To give the other side of that, DP explained that as offering to let Dead Palette give Nightmind work for free. Like, in order to make it up to you, Dead Palette, would you like to do free work writing something for my videos? Like, that, I could see both ways there. I could see Nick thinking he's offering something of value, and I can see Dead Palette seeing that as an offer to give him free work. So, you know, a mismatch of what each person valued in terms of what was offered there. I think that only had value to Nick, but, you know, he thought he was offering something of value. I don't know. That last part is where Dead Palette's claim that I tried to apologize by soliciting free work from him comes from, by the way. You did try to make it up to him by having him do free work. I didn't want free work. I wanted to do anything at all that felt like a peace offering or olive branch. So, Nick, why didn't you offer to do something for Dead Palette instead of offering to let Dead Palette do something for you? I mean, I'm not, as I said, I think Nick legitimately thought he was offering something of value to Brandon. But why, I mean, it would have been nice, theoretically, for Nick to say something like, Dead Palette, would you like me to do a video about something, for you? Would you like me to appear in something on your channel, Dead Palette? Would you like me to do something for you, as opposed to, in order to make it up to you, Dead Palette, I'm going to let you do something for me. I mean, it just, Nick, I don't think meant anything bad by it, but I think Dead Palette is right that it's an offer to do work for Nick as a reward. I didn't want free work. I wanted to do anything at all that felt like a peace offering or olive branch. Dead Palette was primarily a writer. If I could feature something he had made on my channel, that felt like a shaking of hands. Yeah. It's hard not to look at that as, I'll pay you an exposure for reading your story on my narration channel. Like it sounds a lot like that type of thing. So, as I said, I don't think Nick meant it that way, but I think that's the way it comes across. I didn't want him to just drop whatever he was doing and write something for me. I just wanted to work with him and bury the hatchet. If he had something he had written by October he was proud of, I wanted to shake hands by featuring it. Ugh. It seems so soulless to say, let's, get over our agreement by me featuring you on my channel. It seems just icky. I don't know. That just might be me. I fully acknowledge that just might be me. Our argument was in private, not public, but I still wanted to do something in a public nature to apologize. To give you guys an example of what I'm saying, imagine Logan Paul goes to Suicide Forest and finds a dead body and films it. The family of the guy who committed suicide is then mad at Logan Paul for filming the dead body. Logan Paul apologizes to the family and says, "Yo, dudes, if you want, I'll bury the hatchet with you by having you come and dance in a video on my channel. You can all dance to one of my rap songs and be in a music video." I don't think people would see that as, boy, Logan Paul really, really reached out with an olive branch and tried to get the suicide victim's family on his channel, because that's what he could offer them, was for them to dance in a music video for him. That's just to give you guys a perspective of how I look at that. Alright, anyway, yeah. And this is where those of you who have had the fortune of not talking to Dead Palette, wow! Those of you who have had the fortune of not talking to Dead Palette, because it's good to have never spoken to Dead Palette, and it's bad to have to talk to him. Nick, what are you doing? Saying that you're wrong and taking... Fuck. Nick, saying that you're wrong and taking responsibilities for your actions means nothing if you continue to attack the people that you've wronged. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, man. Whew, let's try to power through this. And this is where those of you who have had the fortune of not talking to Dead Palette will learn something those of us who have bad run-ins with him realize after the fact. He's the kind of person who will take something you say and then twist it to use against you for the most horrible negative connotation. Nick, is that sort of like when you said I had a chip on my shoulder with Max Landis before I even met him? Is that the kind of twisting and lying you're talking about? You bastard. You lying bastard. You just fucking did it in this post. You've been doing it in this post. And you expect me or others to just believe you when you talk about somebody else doing it. Now, I don't know. Maybe Dead Palette is a nefarious mastermind who has twisted everything out of proportion. But when I see you doing it, it doesn't make me believe you, buddy. Context will be ignored, and he'll even try to make it null and void so he can use your own words as a weapon to hurt you. Again, opinions are not violence. Even if what you say is soft, he'll somehow make it hard. I think Max is the one who makes it hard for you, buddy. Oh, shit. I'm opening another fucking soda here because I am parched reading through this. Ah, nice big sip in your ears for you. Some ASMR. Holy shit, guys. Oh, he'll somehow make it hard and say, you tried to hit me. I mean, a lot of what I'm seeing in Nick's post here is him saying that people are trying to hit him. So, I don't know. It seems like projection, but I could be wrong. I'm not, this is the thing. I'm not here to defend Brandon. I'm not here to defend Dead Palette. I'm here to defend myself, because I looked at this and I mentioned 13 fucking times in here despite being completely unrelated to this shit. So I wanted to go through this and defend myself. I'm reading through this for the first time, and it just so happens that everything that fucking comes up I have a goddamn problem with. Surprise, I guess. So time went by with no replies from Dead Palette. Oh, well, shouldn't you be lucky for that if it's a chore to talk to him? I know I was looking for them. I wanted to fix this, to make it better, to end it. I had fucked up and been selfish, stupid, and insensitive. Empty words from somebody who clearly doesn't fucking get it. I fucked up and I was selfish and stupid and insensitive, but you know what's even worse? This motherfucker who won't forgive me for it. And insensitive, and I despised what I had done to the group. David was affected. Alan was affected. And the aura of something wrong remained. Still no fucking mention of affecting Dead Palette. David was affected. Alan was affected. End of list. Never mind the 2 fucking people he tried to use his influence to silence. For his, connections and for the dude paying him. Never mind Dead Palette, never mind me. Whatever. We're not affected in any way. I mean, the fact is, I wasn't really, because I didn't give a shit, but he doesn't know that. Or, based on reading his post, he would seem not to know that. I don't know if he actually does. Well, things didn't happen. I asked David in the interim if Dead Palette had said anything, and he reported that he hadn't when I first asked. At the end of the month, he did have this to say. Okay, so now we're getting into the part of Nick's interpersonal manipulation, where he is not only trying to get someone to talk to him who doesn't want to talk to him, but he is now involving other people to try to pressure that person into talking to him. But yet, he's the poor victim. I'm guessing Dead Palette still hasn't said anything, right? I'm not going to earn his respect back, and I know that. I think I said respect. I'm not going to earn his respect back, and I know that. I just want to know he read my full apology. It doesn't feel right, leaving it all on a cold note. I've tried talking to him about it. He said that he has read your apology, but he has said, and I quote, he still doesn't understand what he did or is doing wrong. He's still pretty mad. I don't know, Nick. I'm trying. Alright, so anyway. Things didn't pick up from there. On October 18th, the premiere date of Channel Zero Candle Cove had already passed. I watched it, the whole affair of the past month still in mind, and I came to this conclusion. No, this wasn't really great. Not when it comes to being anywhere near an adaptation of Creepypasta anyway. Thank you for joining us on the right side of history, Nick. After being surprised that people thought the show might suck and telling them they weren't allowed to think the show sucks until they see it, and telling them not to comment about how they thought the show was going to suck, you finally see the show and you understand that we were right. And, I wouldn't be making such a big point of this if this Tumblr post wasn't full of a bunch of bullshit. If this was actually something, fessing up to everything and being like, I fucked up, I wish Dead Palette would forgive me, but he hasn't. Oh well. Then I would have nothing to say. But since there's all this like blame going on and all these little snipes, then I have to just approach this as a hostile post and be like, yeah, surprise. The show sucked. Surprise, buddy. If only some people were there to tell you it was gonna. Yeah. Anyway, it was time to man up and eat crow. I headed into the Skype group for Midnight Marinara to admit I backed what looked like a losing horse and repent. My Skype set... God, this... And repent. We're not fucking angry gods that you're repenting to. We're people with opinions that you kind of pissed off a bit. I didn't care, pretty much. I thought it was a dick thing to do, but, I don't get pissed off at people for doing dick things. I get pissed off at people who go way too far. But yeah. Anyway, my Skype setup has 2 issues with providing evidence for you guys right now. I'm pretty sure I've been blocked by Dead Palette, and I left that old chat group, so getting the full chats in the program's font face isn't possible. What I did manage to get are the old chat logs, which caught this moment. Pardon me. The presentation shows it off kind of strange. Yeah, he's talking about the spreadsheet, format. I'm Nick Nocturne here. Slimebeast is semi-stable Lemon Tart, and Brandon is Dead Palette. Okay, well, it looks like old Slimebeast has to change his Skype name again because somebody told hundreds, if not thousands, of people how to contact him on Skype again. Oh, man. I really liked that username, too. Semi-Stable Lemon Tart is an anagram of Slimebeast Tormental. I thought it was really clever. Gotta get rid of it now, because I'm going to get a lot of messages on Skype from burner accounts and fake accounts and no-name accounts saying, "Hey, Slimebeast, why don't you kill yourself? Slimebeast, I know where you live. Slimebeast, let Mr. Creepypasta put his videos back up or I'll shoot your family." Not that you knew, Nick. Not that you could be expected to know that, but might have been nice to ask. Might have been nice to let me know before you posted my information up. Again, I don't expect Nick would actually know that I've changed my Skype username several times because it gets out in one way or another to a large group of people, and then people start messaging me. I actually have... It's funny, I don't think it picks up on OBS, but I actually have 5 messages on Skype right now. I'm looking forward to seeing what they are. Hopefully they're just all from people I know, but, Jesus Christ. And it's not even that. It's not even about people who are nasty or anything like that. I get a lot of messages from people who just want to chit-chat, and I don't want to be rude to them, so I get in a very awkward position where I just want to kind of hide who I am on Skype because I don't want to be mean and say to people, "Can you not message me and let me know that you're eating German soup?" It's cool that you just got out of your civics class at college just now and are on your way home, but that I don't know how that affects me or why I need to know that. I don't want to be rude to people, but I also, I also have no need to hear that. And I don't want to be a dickhole who tells people, stop sending me this stuff. When I'm doing something and I get back to my computer and there's someone who probably is a kid who likes my stories or whatever, messaging me, and I see like 20 messages in a row, where they're like, hello? Hello? Are you there? Are you there? Hello? Slime Beast? Are you there? Well, where are you? Oh, I guess you never talk to fans. Oh, I guess you don't care about your fans. Hello? Boy, what a douche. I'm never, I just would rather have my private information private, is what I'm saying. So thank you for not even letting me know that you were going to post this. That's really cool. And you may be saying to yourself, Slime Beast, Slime Beast, you have been a part of information being shown on videos. And it's like, yeah, but that's not me taking things from friends on a Skype group who have given me that information and showing it. That's stuff that other people have sent to me. Other people have leaked out. That's not me saying, hey guys, here's the Skype chat with Nick Nocturne of all stuff he said, and I'm just going to release what he said, to everybody. Hey everybody, here's some Skype chat with Dead Palette, and I'm just going to post up what he said. So it's just funny for Nick, who I have had no problem with in the past. We've never had an argument. We've never even talked to each other. It's just funny for him to do this and cause me the mild irritation of having to change my fucking name again. I really liked that name. That's a shame. All right, well, anyway, enough of that rambling aside. That was a big tangent, and I apologize for that. I just came across that, and I was like, oh, fuck. Anyway, I can't read this. It's a Skype discussion. You can probably read it on the site. We could enlarge it, probably, but I don't give a fuck. I know it was in the discussion. It was him saying that he was wrong, and me saying I don't give a fuck. I was short-tempered in this, and I know it, but this was what could have been considered the third or fourth apology attempt I was delivering, and I was having a door thrown in my face while admitting even further how wrong I was. Again, Nick, nobody is beholden to accept your apology. I just will leave it there. I came to eat crow, shake hands, and make peace, not be told I'm a problem, when I had already admitted twice that I was a problem and had done wrong. I also did have a call to make sure that was... I did have a call to make that was incoming with my YouTube... What? I also did have a call to make that was incoming with my YouTube partner manager at the time, Melissa. Whatever, fucker. Just drop the fact you have a YouTube partner manager. This is a bit of a humble brag, but okay. That's a fun fact for you guys. YouTube has actually set up a group to be assistants on the side of things for channels who get emails sent offering the connection. I didn't really have time to jump in a call with DP, but I did anyway. Hey, here's a fun fact for you guys. I'm important enough to have a YouTube connection partner manager. Oh, shit. I know that's probably not how it was intended, but boy howdy, is that how it comes across. I really, really wished I had recorded that call now. This is how it opened. Oh, fuck. Here we go. This is how it opened. Yes! You were wrong, Nick. Everything about what you said and did was wrong, and you know it. Boy, I mean, maybe Dead Palette screamed that at Nick the second the call started, but just saying, that looks a lot like a lot like a quote from a Jeff the Killer fanfiction. Yes, you were wrong, Jeff. Everything about what you said and did was wrong, and you know it, said Jane, brandishing the knife. It sounds laughable, but again, it could be exactly what was said. I'm sure that Nick has memory enough to directly quote exactly what Brandon said to him in a call several years ago. I'm sure that is an exact quote. This guy's probably got the memory of an elephant. I was so stunned by, and again, maybe that is exactly what he said, but I just find it funny. I was so stunned by being directly yelled at as an opening line for a cold conversation that I didn't say anything for a minute. I haven't been spoken to like that since I was a child. The rest of the phone call was just hell. Me apologizing, me admitting I was wrong, that I was sorry, and that I wanted to make amends. And Dead Palette, his side was this. All right, now we're just going to lay out what Dead Palette's side was. Wanting to hear me openly say and actively repeat, I am not a journalist. Telling me that I was a piece of shit for trying to get free work out of him. That I still didn't know what I did wrong and I hadn't apologized for it. I was a dirty, filthy, scummy YouTuber. He didn't care to know me or work with me at all. He didn't care to talk with me or make peace with me. And again, I am not a journalist, and that I don't understand how deeply or incredibly wrong I was. Alright, so this all sounds like something somebody would say in an argument about journalistic ethics. I don't know where it says repeat I am not a journalist like over and over. That sounds like bullshit, but maybe Dead Palette is a psychopath who said, I want you to repeat 3 times that you're not, maybe it's possible. Anything's possible in this great wide world of ours. When I tell you that I begged for forgiveness, I mean I pretty much begged for it. Okay, so did you beg for it, or did you pretty much beg for it? That's kind of a contradictory statement, but we'll let it pass. I didn't know what else to do, what else to say, what else to apologize for. I came through to clear things. He opened the phone line to assault me over the microphone. Poor baby. Poor baby. Someone's mad at you for what you admit you did, and what you say was wrong of you to do. And the person is mad at you, and they're too mad at you. Poor baby. Poor baby. Somebody is too mad about the things you did wrong. Okay. I had to take... Jesus Christ. I mean, there's no call to be abusive, really, but this boils down to I made mistakes and somebody was mean enough to be mad at me. And to keep being mad at me and to not forgive me. Oh, God. I had to take some time to myself, however brief, before I could have my first conversation with this YouTube partner manager. And from there, well, I got one more notification from the Skype group. Well, that should be the end of that. Okay. I left the group, I'm pretty sure, and then just said goodbye to Skype in general for a while. Fun fact for all of you out there, Nick also never spoke to me again. Because having a fight with Brandon meant that he also had to never ever contact or speak to the other person who didn't like the show for some reason. It seemed to me a lot like Nick heard from me that I didn't care, and that was okay for him. He heard that DP did care and was still mad, and so Nick had to try to control and manipulate DP into accepting his apology. Like if I had said, this is funny, this is like alternate history. If I had said to Nick, I'm really mad about what you said and I don't forgive you, I feel like he probably would have been continually trying to get me to accept it. It's weird. It's not his choice. I guess I should count myself lucky that I was like, I don't care what you do, Nick. Because I didn't know him, I didn't work with him, I didn't have any connection to him, so I was like, do whatever you want. Idgaff, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I left the group, I'm pretty sure, said goodbye to Skype in general for a while, tried to pull it together off-scene and continue with my October work. And everything went completely silent from there. Yeah, including you being silent, Nick. You went silent, Nick. David knew what happened, and he was sorry. Couldn't understand how Brandon could be this way. I don't see that screenshot. But I told him not to let things change between him and DP over me. And yeah, that's pretty much what I said as well, and I think probably... I don't know. I don't want to speak for Dead Palette. DP had been his friend first, and our argument wasn't involving David. It's funny how you keep involving David even though he's not involved, Nick. Keep trying to use him as a go-between and shit. If DP wanted nothing to do with me, fine, but David wasn't about to pay that price. What? He wasn't about to pay that price. It's not a price. It's not a price to not associate with somebody you don't want to associate with. This is also, you know what? You know what this is? This is high school bullshit. I'm realizing that now. This is high school drama. Bethany decided she didn't want to be friends with Tiffany anymore, and Tiffany has to pay that price. You know, not realizing that who gives a shit who Bethany is friends with? I don't know. Peace, if you could call it that, was kept since then, until, of course, we have what brought everything crashing down this past week. Alright, so now we're getting to the breakup of Undercooked Analysis. Ugh. We're finally getting to the point of this goddamn post. After what seems like an hour and a half. I don't know how long this has actually been going on, but it feels like an hour and a half. Alan invited me to be on his arc of a fun variety choice event, the Midnight Marinara and Undercooked Analysis guys were calling the Spy-Fu War, where David, Alan, and DP went their separate ways to make their own UCA shows after disagreeing who the best waifu was from Totally Spies. Very succinct. I wish this entire thing was that succinct. I thought that was hilarious, and Alan is my friend. He's been my friend since before he got involved with Midnight Marinara. I missed doing anything with Alan, so I jumped on the opportunity to have some fun, help him with his arc, and enjoy catching up. Alright, so it should be said at this point that both David and Alan knew that Dead Palette did not want Nick on Undercooked Analysis again after that whole debacle that was explained previously. I have been in the Skype chats, and I've been in voice chats, where both David and Alan have been there, and I've said, I don't care, if Nick is on the show, and Dead Palette has followed with, I do, I don't want him on the show. And I'm like, yeah, that's your call, totally your call, and I just am saying for myself, I don't care. So I know for a fact that this has been expressed, previously. Alright, anyway. I missed doing anything with Alan, so I jumped on the opportunity. I read all that, I believe. Alan, despite what Dead Palette or Slime Beast may tell you, he just, this is funny because Nick has to lump me in there sort of before anything comes of this Tumblr post, because he knows that I will say what actually, happened in the thing. So he's like, despite what Dead Palette or Slime Beast may tell you, because, both of them are full of shit, Alan, despite what Dead Palette or Slime Beast may tell you, did not know the depth of the hate Dead Palette has for me. I don't think... And this is where, this is a problem. Nick has incorrectly lumped me in here. But again, he just says things that sound good. I have never said that Alan knew the depth of anything that was going on. I have never said that Alan knew Dead Palette, was really, really fucking mad about the whole situation. What I do know for an absolute fact, is that Alan knew Dead Palette didn't want Nick on UCA. Let me break that down for you. Alan knew that Dead Palette didn't want Nick on the show. But I'm not saying that Alan knew how deeply Dead Palette didn't want him on the show. Because I don't know. I don't know what he knows or doesn't know. I just know what I saw, which is when I've seen in the chats and everything Dead Palette saying, about he still didn't want Nick on the show and so on and so forth. He knew there was bad blood, but not to the extent that he would do what came next. And yeah, it sucks that Nick is like, despite what Dead Palette and Slime Beast may tell you, this little preemptive bullshit to try to undermine any points that may come up later. Pardon me. Starting to pay the price for the soda. The episode went up on Monday night, Tuesday morning. That odd mixture of the two times that to me constitute one full day. Who gives a... Padding! Filler! We don't need to know about how you look at days. Tuesday morning, I'm heading back to bed, looking at my phone, and I see I have a Twitter DM from Dead Palette. Okay, so here's what happened. Nick was on the episode of Undercooked Analysis. David knew it was a problem, told Alan it was a problem. Alan said he didn't care. David edited and put together the podcast, uploaded it, and it went up on the YouTube channel without anyone telling Dead Palette at any point until he found out by seeing it on the channel. So Dead Palette didn't know that Nick was going to be on the show, despite him telling, people he didn't want him on the show. Dead Palette didn't know Nick was going to be on the show until it was already posted and released on the site, on the page. So I think probably anybody out there would be mad in his situation. Funny how that's kind of left out here. Maybe Nick will say that later, but until this point, that little tidbit has been left out, that Dead Palette wasn't even told that this was going on. It's been about 18 months since the whole affair over Channel Zero and my idiocy, a year and a half. Well, how dare Dead Palette not forgive you in a year and a half? It's not your choice, Nick. Not your choice. I'm in a good, thoughtful mood, been working on a new video, I'm about to head to bed, and I get this random message. We don't give a fuck what you were doing, Nick. This is the manipulation. This is the thing of, I was just about to take a bite into a delicious ice cream bar, and I was really happy, and it was going to be so good and delicious. It was my favorite ice cream. It's going to be a happy, good night. I was hugging my teddy bear in my little footy pajamas, and then I got smacked in the face by this mean message. It's just all so weird. It's all so weird how this is handled. All I asked was that you don't work with me and stay off my show. You couldn't even do that. So here we have another thing of Nick. Nick knew he wasn't supposed to be on the show. From here, I'm going to give you the full unedited thread. This is what led to Dead Palette's call-out resignation for comment on the UCA video I was on with Alan, the one in which he wasn't even mentioned, featured, or even remotely thought of. Wow. It doesn't matter if Dead Palette was on the episode. He's a fucking co-host of the show. If Dead Palette... Okay. There was a thing a while back where a writer slammed Undercooked Analysis for being unfair and being a shitty show and everything, because his story was read on the show, and, they didn't like it. If Dead Palette secretly had an episode put together where he had that writer on Undercooked Analysis, don't you think that the other people who are co-hosts would be a little mad that the guy who was shit-talking them was in that episode? It's funny how, Dead Palette wasn't on this episode, so why does he care? That is a really, really pathetic argument. That's a pathetic argument. Why are you mad that your girlfriend slept with your brother? You weren't even in the room. Why are you mad that Nick was on your show? You weren't even on that episode. I mean, you see how that doesn't work? Doesn't fucking work. All I asked was that you don't work with me and stay off my show. You couldn't even do that. This is what led to Dead Palette's resignation. I don't even know where to begin with describing everything horrible about what you just did, says Nightmind, Nick Nocturne. But you know what? I'm going to make a little list anyway. 1. Midnight Marinara is not your show. First of all, it's Undercooked Analysis. Midnight Marinara is a different show. You don't even fucking know what you're talking about. You're going to tell Dead Palette that it's not his show, and you're going to name the wrong show, and be wrong about the fact that he's the co-host of the goddamn Undercooked Analysis show. That makes it in part his show. If it's anyone's show when it comes to who owns it, at the end of the day, it's David's. He is the heart and soul of Midnight Marinara. 2. I didn't work with you. He said, work with me and stay off my show, so this is an irrelevant point coming up at number 2. I didn't work with you. I was invited by Alan for something as part of Midnight Marinara that Alan was doing. Nightmind, okay, Nick, I keep saying Nightmind because I see the NM on his icon here. Nick is such a fucking fan of the show and such a fucking friend to the show that he keeps calling it Midnight Marinara instead of Undercooked Analysis, the goddamn name of the show. Just putting that out there. part of Midnight Marinara that Alan was doing, and guess who I did it for? Alan, because he was my only point of reference and interaction for this episode. I'm sorry, Brandon. Were you just sitting there the whole time on a muted microphone? Oh, he's going to be sassy. Ooh, Nick broke what was agreed to, and he's going to be sassy. I'm sorry, Brandon. Were you just sitting there the whole time on a muted microphone while we had a good time reading some no-sleep stories? Because I sure didn't hear you. I didn't see your name in the Skype call, and I don't hear you in the episode in our conversation. Okay. Okay, I'm fully on board with Nick being a bastard. Okay. Dead Palette asks the hosts of Undercooked Analysis, and apparently Nick, because he says, I asked you, and Nick doesn't, go against that. He's asked Nick not to be on the show, and Nick takes an attitude with him, even though he's the one who broke the fucking agreement. Huh. I'm fully on board with Nick being a dillhole. Okay. I didn't even realize that was where I was going to end up here. 3. After all this time, when grown, mature, well-adjusted adults would have looked at everything in hindsight and just let things go and realized there's no fire to even be stoked anymore over what was a small spark I apologized up and down for, your first contact with me is coming into my DMs accusing me of violating you and your conditions on your show. Well, I mean, he's accusing you of what you did, so... I mean, what the fuck? After all this time, when you refuse to forgive me as I am entitled to, you come into my DMs and you say you don't like that I betrayed your trust. Okay. Okay, Nick. And the world revolves around you, buddy. And that's just the feeling I'm getting from this. And despite your presence, despite how closely I associated you with David and Alan, notice how I didn't cut any of them away? Notice how I wasn't petty, begrudging, and spiteful, and acted like they couldn't interact on my turf because of you? Ugh. This is Nick on the attack. To be clear, Nick is trying to portray this as Dead Palette attacking him, and this is very, very clearly Nick just openly fucking attacking Brandon about this. I'm not saying that Brandon hasn't been a pill in any regard. I'm sure he's said snotty things or, sniped at Nick and stuff like that. But this screenshot, these screenshots show Nick fucking attacking like a rabid dog. That's crazy. I don't understand why he included this. Let's just cut to the chase, really. No bullshit. There is no legitimately well-adjusted, respectable adult. Like, this guy's what, 20? What is he, 22, 23, 24? The fuck do you know? Respectable adult who would take the path you did over the argument we had and the circumstances of how it went down. I can't think of a sane person in this world who would crucify another person. Jeez, he's really the huge martyr victim here. He's crucified, folks. This is disturbing. I'm actually being put back a bit on this. Crucify another person and hold a petty, deep-seated grudge like you have. DP says, well, it's my show, 33% according to David, and you're angry because you know I'm right. Nick says, and then come out swinging over a year later, acting like an authoritarian, narcissistic schoolyard boss. That's like a tongue twister. Authoritarian, narcissistic schoolyard boss. Authoritarian, narcissistic schoolyard boss. Okay. So what we have here is Dead Palette says, all I asked you was that you don't work with me and stay off my show. You couldn't even do that. Over here in the light blue, which is Nick talking, a flurry of fucking insults and attacks. Personal attacks. Dead Palette, well, it's my show, 33% according to David, and you're angry because you know I'm right. In the light blue, from Nick, authoritarian, narcissistic schoolyard boss. More insults. Dead Palette, I didn't say anything publicly or privately about your unethical behavior until you did something you know you shouldn't have. I did let it go. You know you're in the wrong. Nick says, helping my friend for a channel he's part of when he invited me, that is wrong? No. Agreeing to not be on the show and then being on the show is wrong, Nick. You know that. I'm sorry, I didn't know you legitimately own our mutual friends. Again, more bitching from Nick, more insult, type bullshit. I haven't read through this. I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry because I haven't read through this yet, and all I see so far is Brandon being level-headed and Nick being a psycho. I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. I expected Dead Palette to say things that would, make him seem like an asshat or something. Like, he would say something that you could misconstrue or just take at face value or whatever as being mean or something, but I was not expecting to see Nick being a complete and utter sociopath. And I say that because he's just rabidly attacking because he doesn't like the fact that Brandon won't forgive him. And, I'm using the term sociopath incorrectly, but, I don't know what the right term would be. Yes, one request, stay away from my stuff. Nightmind, again, my stuff. Brandon, my show, yes, 33% according to David, as previously mentioned. Nick says, when you buy Midnight Marinara from David and Slimebeast has no claim to it, go ahead and call it that. What? Slimebeast has no claim to it. I have no claim to it. What do you... When you buy Midnight Marinara from David and Slimebeast has no claim to it, go ahead and call it that. I have no claim to it. I'm an occasional guest on the show. Nick has been a guest on the show, so does Nick have a claim to it? I mean, what the fuck? It's total lack of understanding about any of this. He doesn't know anything that he's talking about. He just wants to force Brandon to do what he wants and forgive him. He wants to control Dead Palette's behavior in regards to his need to be validated and forgiven. That's so weird. DP says UCA, no MM, not MM. I think you're angry because you don't like the actions you've taken or the results or both. So, I can't even read that in an angry voice. What Brandon's saying here, I can't even make that sound angry. UCA, not Midnight Marinara. I think you're angry because you don't like the actions you've taken or the results or both. He sounds like a fucking psychiatrist. He sounds like a therapist right now. I'm not trying to be on his side in this, but I mean, I literally, how do you make that sound bad? UCA, not MM. I think you're angry because you don't like the actions you've taken or the results or both. I mean, you could sort of make it sound bitchy, but it's kind of just empty, of any kind of emotion. I don't know. And then Nick, I assume this is going to be more insults and going crazy. Let's see. What the hell is this? What the hell even is this projecting you're doing? Okay, so he's reflecting it back. I loved doing the episode. I love what I'm doing with my life in general. What the fuck? I love my life. I fuck a new woman every night. I have a Rolls Royce. It's like... I'm not saying that those are things Nick would actually say, but it's just like, I love my life. It's kind of an interesting tangent there. Brandon, no more the unethical activities and ignoring my one request. I'm not the guy walking into Twitter DMs in the morning, throwing fists at old acquaintances, acting like they intentionally stabbed him and broke a peace treaty. More over flowery, emotional manipulation language. He didn't walk into the DMs. It doesn't matter if it's the morning. He didn't throw any fists. You're not old acquaintances. You're people who met in the past. I mean, it's kind of a silly way to put it. He's not acting like anything. There's been no stabbing, and there's no peace treaty. It's not a war. So let's try to rephrase this. What Nick should have said is, I'm not the guy who sent a DM complaining about what I did. Nightmind, Nick, I keep saying Nightmind because of the fucking NM. Nick, essentially his post boils down to, you messaged me because you had a problem with what I did. Okay. So, Brandon says, well, you did just that. Nick says, you have a problem, Brandon. No one, no matter how innocent, could ever win an argument with you or macker you see things clearly. Brandon says, I'm sure you'd like to believe that, better than admitting you were covering for a friend's crummy show. Nick says, so what? Now you want to gaslight me while pissing down Alan's back? Are you fucking serious? Gaslight him? I'm sure you'd like to believe that, better than admitting you were covering for a friend's crummy show. So Nick says that that's gaslighting him, trying to make him think he's insane. While pissing down Alan's back, I don't know where the fuck that came from. Nick says, are you fucking serious? It's like a landmine. It's like a minefield. It's a minefield talking to Nick, it seems like. He just lays down trap after trap of, you know, this twisted emotional blackmail. I don't really know what to say as I'm reading through this. What does Alan have to do with this? You just said you think my mentality is that I'm covering for a friend's crummy show. This is Channel Zero, not Undercooked Analysis. Jesus tap dancing Christ. Is this the skeleton you want to dig up? So, Dead Palette doesn't want Nick on the show because they had a fight about Channel Zero. And Nick is like, what does Channel Zero have to do with this? It's the whole cause of the fucking... Oh my god. It's the cause of the entire problem. And he's acting like Brandon's bringing this out of nowhere. DP says, I didn't go digging. Nick says, you just brought it up. I had to. Couldn't leave UCA without explaining why, so you forced my hand. I'm sure it won't matter to your fans, but I had to explain to mine. Are you legitimately about to burn David, Alan, and Slimebeast because of your hate for me? Again, Nick still doesn't understand. I'm a guest on the show. I'm not a host of the show. I'm not an owner of the show. He's still, you know, this show that he is so important to Nick that he wants to help foster creepypasta creators. The show that's so important to him, run by his close friends. He doesn't even know the name of it, and he doesn't even know who runs it. But yeah. Are you leaving UCA because I was on one episode with Alan? Both David and Alan knew not to have you on the show. You don't own them, Brandon! Yes, I'm not going to work with liars like you. I do own the show. I didn't say anything when they worked with you elsewhere, did I? That's a good point. They've worked with Nightmind, you know, the Nightmind channel, and they've worked with Nick in other capacities, and Dead Palette didn't care. He just didn't want Nick on his show that he owned part of. Nick says, because friends let each other have friends we have a falling out with. I did. I mean, it's shitty that you continue to manipulate them, but that's your deal, and I kept my mouth closed about it. I really am seeing the manipulation. I really am. I don't know about you guys. People who are watching this, you may disagree with me, and you can disagree with me. I do sometimes argue with people in the comments if I feel like they're being shitty. Like, you know, Slimebeast, you fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I'll be like, you know, fuck you. But, you know, you can disagree. You know, maybe you disagree with this. Maybe you don't see Nick being very fucking manipulative here. I don't know. It might just be me. This goes so much deeper than my young, stupid request I made long ago about Channel Zero coverage. It's like 2 years. No sane person harbors this much hate towards another. And how fucking dare you? How fucking dare you believe I manipulated David, Alan, or anyone? Straight shit. They'll tell you themselves I don't even find enough time to talk with them and talk them into being manipulated, let alone have casual conversation. At least that's still more of a friend than you are. I don't talk to them, but I'm more of a friend than you are, says Nick. On to the how fucking dare yous, are we? You continue to think I hate you that much? I ignored you since we last talked. Yeah, because you might as well be a stranger walking in here with a sword raised and a conspiracy theory in his head at this point, looking to paint someone else for all the mean shit they're about to do. So, are you guys starting to see, for anybody who hasn't seen it, are you guys starting to see the emotionally manipulative language? You're walking in here with a sword raised. It's not that Dead Palette has a reasonable or unreasonable issue. It's not that Dead Palette is right or wrong about something. It's that Dead Palette is coming at him with a blade. You know, that's the flowery kind of way of trying to force somebody into your position. Conspiracy theory, he says in quotes. You want to fuck over David, Allen, Slimebeast, and the UCA audience because I was around? That's not caring. That's throwing people away. Oh, shit. Here we go. Okay. Here we go from Dead Palette. I don't get why you keep bringing up Slimebeast. He doesn't like you. Why does he... Why does he keep bringing me up? Kayla is more a part of the show than I am. I have no ill will toward David Allen or Kayla or anything like that. I find some things questionable, and I'm trying to figure stuff out and wrap my head around certain things. But I don't have an issue with any of these people. So I'm not trying to like throw anybody under a bus or anything when I say, why doesn't he mention Kayla at all? Because she's actually part of UCA. She's a producer. Or the producer, I should say. But instead he swaps me in. He doesn't know who's involved with the show. He doesn't... Anyway. And yes, they violated my trust. Don't you understand that? I also trusted you'd leave well enough alone. Because you just hung him out to dry on UCA right now, too. If you give a fuck about something, you fight, you persist, you grit your teeth, and you punish, and you push through. You don't say, oh, you did a thing on the side I don't like. I'm leaving you all. Me being on UCA had nothing even to do with you. I don't give a fuck about you. I give a fuck about Alan. Being on your show you partially own had nothing to do with you. Good gravy. Here's the thing. When people agreed not to have Nick on, and when Nick agreed to not be on, they accepted Dead Palette's terms. They accepted that. They could have told him to go fuck himself. But no, they accepted his request. So to go back on that is the misstep, is the wrong thing. Especially to not even tell him you're going back on it. It's like, that's the mistake. That's the problem. So me being on UCA had nothing to do with you. How about Nick, you go back to the fact that this all started off with Dead Palette saying you knew not to be on the show and you not, contradicting that. If you gave a fuck about Alan, you wouldn't have ruined a show for his friend. ... But no, that was a show I cared about deeply and worked hard on. You are so mentally warped, I can't even begin to diagnose this. Nick, you're the dude who needs to be diagnosed. I try to avoid this sort of thing because I'm not an expert in anything, but you actually legitimately probably need a therapist if you don't already have one. You may already have one, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm legitimately saying that it's a good thing to have a therapist, and I think that you are not fit to diagnose somebody else. I think that you would benefit from being diagnosed. I'm not being mean, and I'm not joking. I'm being 100% fucking completely real about that. I don't hate Nick. I don't hate his guts. I think that we've reached a point in this where I've come back around and I've started to think Nick probably got really popular really fast at a young age and hasn't grown up in certain regards. And I think that unchecked, this kind of behavior is going to lead to a very, very unhappy old person, some years down the line, who has pushed a lot of people away. I think this is a problem. Now it's promoting people with no moral fiber, so you've gone from journalist to psychiatrist now. I think someone with moral fiber is someone who doesn't fuck over friends like you did, Nick. Treat the... I mean, it's so unaware, the statement, so unaware of oneself. Treat them and the stuff they made like they're your property because you're involved. He's legitimately a co-host of the show, dude. He's legitimately a co-owner of the show. He's not treating people like they belong to him. Your property, because you're involved, has actual capacity for forgiveness. Again, Nick is demanding to be forgiven and getting past things and thinking about people besides themselves. You are cracked, Brandon. You are cracked beyond belief. I can't even begin to fathom how many other people you've needlessly hurt and alienated doing this shit. Again, the emotional manipulation, the lies and bullshit, making up fictional, theoretical other people that Brandon has left in his wake of terror. You keep acting like I'm treating friends as property. I'm treating my show as property. You didn't even have to do this. You had two choices. Be a narcissist about it or be a man about it. Again, Nick doesn't know what that means. And again, you chose the self-absorbed path. Pardon me. Brandon says, I get what you're doing. You're trying to be hurtful because you're angry with your actions, but it's not hurting me. Gaslighting, projecting, deflecting. You need therapy. Oof. Oof. The lack of self-awareness is stunning. Be a man and ignore people violating my property? How about you be a man and not pick fights on Twitter with dead acquaintances on a Tuesday morning? Now he's dead. How about you... You can't be much more of a victim than being dead. Oh my god. How about you keep my one simple request? Simple. Oh wait, how about you keep my one simple request? Simple. Okay, I read that right. Also, the persona egotist telling me I'm self-absorbed. Rich. Now we've got an attack from Brandon. Oh man, after a ton of light blue text personally attacking him, we have Brandon stooping to that level and issuing a personal attack. How about you take your narcissistic, deflecting, begrudging, combative, authoritarian personality? Why isn't he authoritarian? How is it authoritarian? Is Nick going to call him a fascist next and punch him in the face? What is this bullshit? Authoritarian personality and keep on leaving good people behind. Brandon, they're better off not sitting around an emotional and mental ticking time bomb. You hurt our friends, not me. Now, go clean your mind. Brandon says, you go clean up your ethics. Do-do-do. Air horns. Wow. That's a lot to unpack, and I'm not sure I can unpack it all, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Wow. Let me know. A lot of YouTubers say, tell me in the comments if blah, 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 and they're trying to get interaction, they're trying to get traffic and views and shit. I legitimately, honestly, you can believe me or not, legitimately, honestly, I want you guys to tell me in the comments below if I'm wrong reading this as Nick being an absolute shitbag with constant personal attacks and half-cocked, uneducated statements that aren't correct about things. It seems to me like he was going psycho and Brandon was like, I don't forgive you. Get over it. And I asked you not to be on the show and you were. That sucked. Like, it seems like Nick is absolutely going crazy. I mean, I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm misreading it. Maybe I'm biased in some way and I'm reading it incorrectly. I immediately shared screenshots with Alan and David because I knew if DP was mean-spirited and begrudging enough to do this a full year and a half later acting this way, he was about to do some more horrible things too. Here's the psychic back again. Nostra dumbass here telling us what's going to happen in the future. I knew that Dead Palette was about to do more horrible things. I knew he was collecting the components for his nuclear device. Like, ugh, it's just, again, more emotional blackmail and manipulation. It's constructing a false narrative. I knew that Brandon was about to hurt somebody. Anyway. It's all depressing. This is depressing the shit out of me. And then he did precisely that. He went into the comments section of the UCA video I made with Alan, wrote up his hit piece, and then burned two innocent mutual friends because he just fucking hates me. Fucking hates me. Da-da-da-da. Nick, Jesus Christ, Nick. Jesus Christ, it's not all because people hate you. I mean, this is like another version of that shit where people say they're just mad at you because they're jealous. You're like, they're just mad at me because they hate me. I don't know. And I've had to sit by and watch as people DP sold a lie to in a random call-out post have flung arrows at me here through anonymous asks and on Twitter. I don't see Nick pointing out any lies yet. Have you seen Nick point out any lies yet, guys? I haven't seen Nick point out a single fucking lie. But he's talking about he's sold a lie to, it's more just saying whatever sounds good. But I told David straight up, he and Alan were the ones truly hurt by this. They can lead the charge. Yeah, he's telling people how to feel. Surprise. And, I seriously didn't expect Dead Palette to leave the Witching Hour on top of Undercooked Analysis. I didn't even expect him to leave UCA. I don't know what interpersonal problem occurred there. I can tell you he didn't leave the Hyperrealists. I don't know what's going to be happening with it. We have to sort of, the three of us, sit down and figure it out. But he didn't leave that, so I would presume that there was some issue with the Witching Hour as well. Like, and this is just me assuming or presuming or theorizing. It could be that the other hosts of the Witching Hour took Nick's side or something. And so Dead Palette was like, okay, well, I guess I gotta quit this too, because I'm not working with people who I'm having a big disagreement with. I'm just assuming, something like that. Who knows? I don't really know. I don't know. But the fact that he hasn't left other projects, makes it seem like there must be something there that caused it. I don't know. No matter how horrible the whole thing with DP was, I never begrudged David over it, or Alan. Why would you? It's silly. It's a silly comment. I wasn't going to burn mutual friends for something that was my own deal. But most of all, I didn't expect a grown man to hold a grudge like this for a year and a half and then attack me out of the blue. Poor fucking victim, baby. After what must have been 5 apologies. He's entitled to forgiveness, everybody. If you don't forgive him, you're a monster who needs to be constantly apologized to and told that he's an awful person until he forgives you, I guess. I fully own up to everything stupid and awful I did that created the Channel Zero situation. I do own it. I asked Slime Beast and Dead Palette not to disparage the show in the comments section if I made a video, because I didn't want public fighting. I wanted to support the show for what it could do for creepypasta. No, Nick specifically told me in Dead Palette he didn't want us fighting because Max Landis watches. He specifically said it was because he didn't want Max Landis to see people he was associated with speaking bad about his show. As you guys may note from the glowing praise about Max Landis throughout this goddamn blog post. I asked Slimebeast and Dead Palette not to disparage the show in the comment section if I made a video, because I didn't want public fighting. I wanted to support the show for what it could do for creepypasta, and I wanted to support Max, who had been majorly kind to me. There you go. That's the only reason. He didn't say anything about what the show could do for creepypasta. I was also getting a lot of questions from viewers asking if I'd cover it. It was, after all, indie online horror that was now taking major media form. I felt pressed to cover and support Channel Zero in a bunch of ways. I felt trapped by my need to light a torch for it and my desire to stay friends with the group who befriended me on YouTube. I chose one of the dumbest, most selfish routes possible to go about it and chose to ask friends to be silent about their opinions for my sake. Man. Really sucks that somebody won't forgive you for that. Guess you better call them a bunch of fucking names and go against what you agreed to do or not do. And then when you commit a further mistake by being on the show you said you wouldn't be on, when you commit that further mistake, you better just tell him that he's an asshole for not forgiving you for that too. Yeah. Alright, I was wrong, Dead Palette. You're right about that. but no matter how much I said it, no matter how much I owned it, no matter how much I wanted to fix things and make it right and be better than what you saw me as, you just kept spitting in my face and screaming me down. I don't see any evidence of that. Nick Nocturne has had the chance to show screenshots of Dead Palette being unreasonable and, being nasty, spitting in his face. He has not provided any evidence of that. He says that there's a Skype call he wishes he had recorded because Brandon yelled at him. I don't know how much I believe because Nick has lied elsewhere in this blog. But now you've hurt innocent people, and what's more, you've hurt my friends. Mix yourself a drink for that, DP, and call it the bitter grudge. This is not somebody who's sorry about anything they've done. This is not somebody who feels sorry about making any mistakes. This is not somebody who believes he's made mistakes. This is somebody who's on the attack. This is not a victim. This is an attacker. Nick is a cry bully. Nick is crying out as he strikes someone else. That's exactly what is going on here. Oh, thank God this is fucking almost done, because I'm starting to lose my grasp on the English language here. I hate internet drama. I hate having to engage in it. It's funny how it happens so often to you. I hate having to hear about it. I hate having to see it. But this is one monster that involved me, and I had to save my peace. Let's go ahead and put this thing to bed now and move on with good things and good people. Sorry, Nick, but you don't get to move on and have nothing said when you just wantonly go after other people in what is supposed to be your final statement. And finally, long live Undercooked Analysis and Midnight Marinara. Now he knows the difference. Now he knows that that's two shows. Awesome. Edit. Please, please, please do not attack Dead Palette. The case is closed here. Leave the guy alone. Don't message him. Don't tweet at him. Don't comment on his videos about this. Don't attack him. Leave him be. We've all had enough hate and grudges and mudslinging. Enough of the blame. Enough of the hate. It's spring. Let's go forward in peace. Yeah, it's really cool to do a big character assassination blog and then at the end say, let's have peace, everybody. Let's not have a grudge against Dead Palette, who I've spent an inordinately long amount of time writing an inordinately long post about, in which I don't support anything I said. He doesn't support anything he fucking said. I just realized what a big fucking waste of time this was. This was a huge waste of time. I mean, we can go all the way back to these screenshots here where he says that Dead Palette and Slime Beast went out of their way to throw shade at Max, when it's Dead Palette saying this show sounds like it's off the mark, and me saying that Dead Palette knows about creepypasta. From the first step, the evidence has contradicted what he says, and it's just oof, you know what I mean? It's just very, very bad. It's a very, very bad thing. It's very smelly. Yeah. There's some other shit here. You can read it. Crazy. I mean, of course there's going to be fanboys and things who are like, Nick, you so right. But, I mean, anybody with any kind of logical sense is going to look at these, especially these screenshots right here. Wait, no. That's the wrong ones. Anyone who looks at these screenshots right here is going to see Dead Palette saying like one or two sentences and Nick going off with tons of insults. And, anybody with logical sense is going to see what's going on here. And it's just a shame, because I was trying to stay neutral with the Nick Nocturne thing, because in truth, I didn't give a fuck. And I guess in retrospect, I should probably apologize, because I should have given a fuck. I should have cared, and I should have probably talked to Brandon about what was happening. Because I was just like, Brandon and Nick are having a mutual fight, and they don't like each other, so oh well. But now I see that Nick has been for a year and a half to 2 years there's been like this weird emotional blackmail thing been going on. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Nick is not at all sad that he got Dead Palette off the show. That's just my personal opinion. Because for Nick to agree to not be on the show and know he's not wanted on the show and still be on the show with all of this acrimony and with all of this back and forth and all of this thing about Nick thinking that Dead Palette hates him and wants him gone and all that, with all of that now understood, I can't help but wonder if this was really all that surprising to Nick that DP left the show. I don't know. I have to think about it. I've read this for the first time just now. I may be off base on certain things. I may change my mind about certain things. But right now, at the end of this, I just see a big fucking mess. And I didn't realize how much of this was Nick's fault. I honestly could have taken either side. I trusted Dead Palette because I knew him better. I trusted his point of view more because I knew him, as I knew him. But if Nick had come forward and said, here's what really happened, I would have questioned. I would have said, well, Jesus, now I don't know who to believe. But after reading this, I definitely know that, holy shit, Nick is kind of a bastard. I guess that's the end of the video.